Hello everyone and welcome back to another Figurehead Reviews video, and today we are taking a look at the NECA 2-pack San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Superman vs. Aliens. Here we have the front of the box where we get some embossing here on the alien egg and the Superman logo, but we don't get anything special with the names. And then believe me when I say this box is plain. There is nothing anywhere else on the box except for on the bottom, which is the UPC code. However, again, this is not at retail. This is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, so you're probably going to have to find it on the secondary markets now. If we do open it up, though, we do have the front window displayed here so we can see the figures. So let's go ahead and get this open and take a look at both Superman and the Alien. And here is the Alien towering over Superman. Very, very cool looking. I do like these figures very much. I wasn't as big of a fan of Superman vs. Alien as I was with Batman vs. Predator. But similar to that, NECA has done a very cool job with this set. I do have a few quality control issue complaints, primarily around Superman's cape where it fastens, and I'll show that. And then I have a leg joint on the Alien where the knee peg was not secure. And I had to do some home remedy stuff to get it back in place, which has already failed once, and hopefully it's holding now. But we'll be able to take a closer look at that. But very cool sets, and if NECA is going to keep this up, they tweeted a photo not that long ago of a Yellow Lantern Predator, which presumably would be with a Green Lantern 2-pack. And if they're going to keep this up, I might have to continue looking out for these 2-packs because I'm a huge DC fan. I'm definitely a huge Green Lantern fan. So we do get some accessories for this set, primarily for Superman, so we're going to take a closer look at those accessories real quick, and then we're going to get a better look at both the Superman figure and the Alien figure. So looking at the accessories that come with Superman, first we do get an extra pair of hands, which come in the form of these flying hands, and they're a pretty unique looking sculpt, but I will say they look very, I don't know, they're just, it's like, they look rough, I guess, maybe is the best word I'm looking for. They look like they're still sort of in their final phases before having some of the finer details, smoothed out. Kind of lumpy. And, I mean, it looks good. Like, I love we got, like, the lifelines. You got the hands look good. And I like that it's unique. The thumb you can see on this hand is bent further in than the thumb on this hand. So they're not just a mirror copy of each other, which is kind of cool. You actually got, like, the fingernails sculpted in and stuff. So it is cool looking. But, yeah, they seem rough. And you just pop these out. So he does come with the fisted hands. You just pop these in. Now, looking at his face, this is one of the alternate head sculpts that we get, and it has a very unique purpose. So one of the other accessories we get here is this guy, and it is going to be some of Superman's heat vision sort of as it's warming up. And if we get in kind of close here on it, you can see you have a very distinct little lip there on that little piece. And because Superman has, hold on, let me raise the camera up a little bit. So because Superman has this gaping hole here, and you can see if you look close enough that little lip lines up. So basically you pop that in, and then there you go. You get a short heat blast, a heat vision blast that is, which is very cool looking. I like that. And then you get the larger version of that, which has the two beams coming out, and then it has a spot here that of course you could lean up against the Alien where it looks like it's blasting them. And we get the same thing where when you look at that, you're going to see that notch again right there on the right hand side, if you can make that out. There we go, the light's a little better. And then the same way, you're just going to port that in. Move it down a little bit, there we go. Port that in, and then you have that blast coming out, and you can see it holds its shape pretty well. So you don't have to worry too much about having it sag or anything like that. So I think that is really cool that they included that. And I do kind of wish that there was another way to make this work, because I actually like this head sculpt with the teeth grittiness. But obviously you're not going to have anything work there with that gap. But the head sculpt otherwise looks pretty cool. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look actually at the other head sculpt first. And then we'll get a rest of the look at Superman. So going back and looking at the first head sculpt that's on here, we can see a really well done Superman sculpt in my opinion. I love we get the iconic little swirl there for the hair. We get those blue eyes that are looking very piercing, although it looks like the black of the left eye there dipped onto his eyelid. Yeah. But it's a good looking sculpt overall. I actually do like it. We get some very subtle blue. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see it better in the back. We get some subtle blue in the hair, which does help bring out some of the finer details, and it is very subtle. I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, it looks cool. Going down the rest of the figure, so this is a classic Superman outfit. So he has the lower collar. He doesn't have the high collar that we saw with like New 52, and he does go back to the red trunk. So this is more the Superman, of course, of the era, which is the 90s when that took place, the Superman versus Alien. But we get a very nice looking emblem there on the chest. And I really like the sculpt work here, just the muscles and such. And we get some very fine blue shading there around the abs and some of the other muscles just to help accentuate some of those finer details. So I think that looks really cool, and it's not just a flat blue. I love that they did that shading in there. And then the cape, so you can kind of see this cape, or this side of the cape doesn't look like it's held in as strong, and I do love it. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice cloth cape. And then if I bring it around over his head, we can actually see how it's held in. So it has these sort of pins here, and I assume the cape has a hole in it. I've had to jam most of that cape back into that peg with a small little pick tool that I have to try to get that in there because it was so bunched up on this side. It did not look very good. So that is one of my first quality control concerns that I had with this figure. Since we got the cape turnaround, though, we'll just kind of look at the back. Again, you can see they didn't skimp out. We still have some of that shading on the back, which looks very cool, and I like, again, the muscles. Well done. And then, again, the cape just is awesome. It actually flows very nicely. It's very heavy, so it has a good weight to it. It sits very nice on his back, and I actually, it really, really helps make the figure. So going down, though, looking on, I did have this little thing, too, where he's got a little yellow on his fist there. I'm not sure if NECA paints their hands or if it's molded in the flesh tone. I'm kind of concerned that it might be more of that color there and that it's painted just from the looks of it. So I don't know where that yellow came from, so I'm afraid to pick at it for fear of picking off more paint. So that is a little bit of an issue that I had there. But looks good again, and we have some of that subtle blue shading again in the legs. And yeah, I mean, it is a classic Superman, and honestly, this might be one of the better Superman figures that I have in terms of just the overall design and such. Now, looking at his articulation, so you do have a head that can go side to side without too much issue. He can actually look down a pretty fair amount, but looking up, the sculpt of the hair is going to get in the way. I kind of wish we would have had maybe something a little flatter. I mean, it does look good, but we don't get very good flying poses out of this, which is unfortunate. He does have shoulders that can come up pretty far. You do get full rotation. You do have a bicep swivel. And then, yeah, look at that, the paint coming off there too. Ugh, I don't like that. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. Then you do have rotation and a hinge on all of the hands. He does have an ab crunch, which can go down, yeah, not too bad. And it can go back, not too bad. And you can see it's getting close to digging in there. So unfortunately, that's kind of the bummer, is you don't really get, yeah, you're not going to get any good flying poses out of him. So that is, we get flying hands, but not very good flying pose. You do have waist rotation there. You have legs that can actually come apart incredibly far. You have kick forward, actually quite nice as well, backwards. Well, surprisingly, pretty far there, too. You do have a swivel up here, and, oh, boy, what do we got there? That's not good. Huh. That, I did not notice that. And this joint I didn't have any issues with, so that looks like it's splitting. I might have to get in touch with NECA on that one. That's not good at all. And then we have double jointed knee. There is a boot rotation here as well. And then you have a hinge and ankle pivot. And then you do have a toe joint. And this would be my last issue that I had. Those toe joints for me were frozen. And I ended up having to get my knife out. And it was actually stuck. You can almost see where the plastic was stuck together. I had to take my X-Acto knife and go around. And I had these all heated up, and then I went around with the X-Acto knife, and I had to basically free it from the hinge there so that I could use the toe articulation. So, boy, I'm not feeling that, though. How about this leg joint? All right, well, that's good. But, man, yeah, that is not cool. And getting up close here to the alien, we can see a very cool head sculpt. And yes, we do even get that feared second inside mouth there that can come out, although I had to get a pair of pliers to actually pull it out. And I found once I got it out, I was a little concerned, but you really have to... There we go. Really have to push to get it in. And once you get it back in there, you're probably going to have a hard time getting it out by hand. So again, a pair of pliers or something to pull it out would be nice. But we get some jaw articulation there so you can actually have it shut or open. But yeah, very cool looking. The teeth look good. The design on the mouth and the neck. And then looking at the overall, the dome. I mean, very well done. Now, my understanding is that this is based off of one of the newer Alien body sculpts used for the Alien 3 Alien, the quadrupedal Alien that they're working on. So I haven't seen that. I don't collect many of the Alien figures. I do have, what is it, Big Chap, I think is the first Alien from the original Alien movie. I have that NECA figure, but that's about it. But man, this is a really cool design. I mean, we get some great detailing here throughout. Tubes coming out the back, shading. I mean, the alien design is very intricate. Like, I love what they got to do here with the chest. And just, yeah, man. And the hands came out looking good. I like that. And we even get some articulation there. And then going down the legs, this is kind of what I was talking about with a little different design. So you can see we get the knee joint here. And then it comes down and we get another joint there, and then you do get a swivel at the feet. So you get a couple different changes from the alien figure that I already have, which is just a standard humanoid look. And then the tail looks very cool as well. The tail, we do have a softer material here for the spines. It does have a bendy wire till about right here, and then this part is going to be loose, so that's not going to hold any bend. But the rest of this tail is bendy wire, so you can pose it, straighten it, move it around however you wish. But for me, I was having such a hard time getting it to stand. This tail is probably going to be used for balance. And then we do actually have a little rotation there at the tail. But yeah, just a very, very cool design overall for the alien. Now, looking at the articulation, I will say I had to heat up the neck hinge, so the head can actually have really good range of motion, full turnaround, and I had to heat up the neck hinge so that I could actually get the up and down. He can look quite a ways back, so that's what makes me think, too, the quadrupedal, like, you can really get him looking forward or running down, so I like that. And then he can look down very far as well, so you get a really good range of motion on the head there. You have shoulders that can come up quite a ways there. Then you do, of course, get full rotation on the shoulder. Nothing in the way there. You do have a rotation right above the elbow, and then you do have, looks like a single joint. Is it right there? Can't really see down in there. I don't think it's a double joint. No, maybe it is a double joint in there. I can't tell. It's very loose. But either way, you get really good range of motion with that elbow. And then you do have, as I mentioned, the rotation and hinge at the hand, and you do have a hinge here on these two fingers. You do have a diaphragm joint that gets you full spinning around, and it can actually go down very deep and go back quite a ways as well, if I can get it even further, I think. So again, talking about being quadrupedal, like, you can get some really good motion out of that. I like it a lot. Then you do have, of course, this hinge here, which you're going to be able to go full rotation all the way around, but there's no swivel or anything like that. It's just all right here with the hinge, and the legs don't actually come apart very far. In fact, I feel like I'm going to pop the joint out if I try too much further. And then at the knee, you do have that rotation there with the single joint. Then you do have another hinge down here, which is going to hinge primarily this way. It does go back a little bit. That one's a little stiff again. And then from what I could see, I don't have pivot or anything on the ankle. We just have rotation, but you do have toe articulation. And then this knee, you can still kind of see some results how it's bowed out. That was my main problem. When I first got this out of this package, this side of the peg was just completely out. I had to heat it up, clamp it down, left it for a few hours to cool, and so far it's held up. The first time I did it, I did not clamp it. I just heated it up and then held it in place and then ran it under cold water for a minute. and it held for a few hours, but then it stopped. So that was a little bit of a bummer at first. But NECA support, I've been in contact with them, and I actually just tweeted them while I was looking at some poses for this guy, so hopefully I can get that Superman figure looked at too. But yeah, very cool looking figure. And now looking at these two standing tall side by side, you can see that alien really does tower over Superman. Superman's coming in at about 7 1/8 inches tall, which puts him at about 18.1 centimeters. And then the alien, when standing straight up, is coming in at 9 3/4 inches tall, making him 24.7 centimeters. So a very tall figure, but it's kind of difficult to get him standing straight up. So I'm going to try some poses here to see about getting him down closer to being on all fours, or at least just a lower pose. So let's see how that looks. Well, guys, this is going to actually do it for the review. I tried for probably about 10 minutes to get this alien to pose in a more crouched or attacking-like pose, and these knee joints are practically useless. And maybe it's my figure, considering I did have the issue with the one peg that wanted to come off, but anytime there is any weight on it, he topples over. I finally got frustrated and just kind of got him in this pose here, getting shot back by Superman, and most of the weight is on the tail, and I was trying to use the tail as best as I could to get the figure itself to stand again on that knee, but they were just so loose, and it's not even the joint, but the swivel here at the top of the knee would just swivel, like, for example. Well, yeah, that didn't take much. But the moment I put any kind of weight, and you can even see, like, I'm barely trying to set it down, and yeah, it just can't handle hardly any weight and I know this is awkward and not a very good representation, but you can see how easily that knee joint is just wiggling around, and, doesn't take much at all to move. So, unfortunately, man, I want to like this more, but that alien figure just, that's rough. And actually, in that pose that I had with the alien up, I wish I could have aimed Superman's head a little bit higher, but because his head articulation doesn't take it up any further, that's basically what you're stuck with. So overall, this figure plagued with some quality control issues, and really just a rough figure to try to pose with this alien. So, I mean, I'm going to mess around with it some more. I have reached out to NECA support regarding the thigh on here, and I might add in the fact that I can't do anything with this alien. To be fair, being loose joints, I might be able to put some floor polish on there and actually tighten those joints up some, which is probably what I'm going to try later. But I would say expect a update video on this particular set to see whether or not NECA is able to help me out at all with that. I'm worried about the fact that this looks like it's a tear in this peg. That's really what I'm worried about, because it looks like a rip there, and I want to be able to pose this Superman. I actually really like this Superman, so I don't want that rip to get better and to have that leg fall off, even if it takes a year to do it. So, but anyway, that is it for this review, guys. Let me know, did you have similar issues like this with yours, or if you were able to get it? But let me know down in the comments what you think of this setup and what you think, especially just seeing what I was able to show you here. Make sure to subscribe for more content just like this. And aside from that, thanks for watching my video, and have a great day.